I'm Perry Johnson, and I'm running for President of the United States. And I'm running on one central theme, the economy. I wrote a book, 2 Cents to Save America. The concept is very simple. Instead of the government increasing the budget every year, we're going to freeze it, and we're going to cut 2 cents out of every dollar of discretionary spending. That way, as we ignite the economy and we have 2% inflation, we will then be able to balance the budget. The only reason that we have inflation right now is because the government spends so much money, and they really spent your money, and they love to spend it. In fact, we just had to write a check for $900 billion for interest alone. That amounts to $610 per family. Keep in mind that in many cases, we're just throwing money down the tubes. We end up spending $113 billion for the Ukraine war when Europe is not in any way compensating anything close to that. That is costing you another $100 a month. Those two expenses alone are $710 a month. But keep in mind, the real cost to you is inflation. So when you go to the store and you have to spend so much money for your food, you can thank the government. When you're going over there and putting gas in your car and you're spending $3 to $3.50 a gallon instead of $1.75, thank the government. Because the biggest tax on anything is inflation. And that's something I'm going to stop. I believe that we have the ability to continue to be the greatest country in the world, but we have to do something about our economy now. I spent my entire life bringing quality and efficiency to companies. That's all I've done for 35 years. And now I want to bring quality and efficiency to the federal government. And I wrote a book on how to achieve just that. I'm the only one with a plan, and that's because this is the kind of thing I've been doing all my life. And I laid out exactly what we need to do. By the way, we should be producing as much oil as possible. Nobody does a better job of producing it. Nobody produces has a cleaner process for producing oil. And we should have as much ethanol and as much oil out there as possible to the point where we can export natural gas and oil.
Is there a past president or a past presidential candidate you feel like you most relate to?
Probably like Trump. I'm essentially a lot like Trump. I don't spend as much money, probably because I grew up without much money and I was stone broke. When I was in grad school, I was getting eviction notices. Now, it is true that I have about 80 companies now. We operate in 61 countries. None of my companies have any debt. None have ever been bankrupt. I have no personal debt. And the main difference between Trump and me is Trump tends to spend too much money, and he has a lot of baggage.
Is there anything you learned from Iowans by talking with them in there or on your trip through Iowa? Anything you particularly picked up, surprised you, learned?
I picked up 2 things. They don't like inflation, and that's number one. Number 2, they like the idea of the government spending less of their money. And that theme resonates throughout all of Iowa. You'll never find a place where you'll have friendlier people nor more down-to-earth people that understand what needs to be done in order to keep this great economy alive.